just gonna have Karen bring all those guys in. Because they're a little bit loud. We'll do them first. We need to take a vote, right, to appoint him and sign the appointment slip. No, it's right here.
I think it's going to be my first spring in a while without baseball.
Oh, have my gavel.
Never ever. This is why I wear body armor. Even when I go to the grocery store.
It's sad.
Do you want everybody to stay while you're doing that? And
Well, how are you? All right, we're going to get started. We'll start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. You can see we've got a bit of a crowd dressed in dark colors back in there in the back of the room. So we are going to start with the appointment of James Russell for part-time police officer, and we will need to take a board vote for this appointment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so we will sign this, and then I think there's Daphne, ready to do her work. John, I don't know if you want to say anything?
Sure, yes. All right, so welcome everybody. For those of you who are from town, this is nothing new. We do make sure it's important that we recognize those officers who come to work for us in our community because we love them all. This is probably the biggest swearing in for a part-time officer we've ever had, I guess. But the showing here tells you a little bit about the man that we're about to swear in. His name is James Russell. He is due to retire in just a few weeks, right? From full-time law enforcement after 22 years in service with Northampton Police Department. I've had the pleasure of working with Jim in my capacity as a prosecutor for about the last 10 years. And I can tell you all of his guys, Jim is a lieutenant, by the way, with Northampton PD. His folks are here to support him, our folks are here to support him as well. I think he represents what we at Brentwood have made this community and this police department. We've made it about our employees. You folks have made it about our employees, and you folks have made it about our employees. We couldn't exist the way we do in the short time that we've done it without your support. So thank you for all of you guys and your support. So without further ado, I'd like to have Jim come up to the front and be sworn in by our town clerk, Daphne Ross.
She doesn't like saying and.
Actually, you want to move a little closer this way so the camera can get you on the picture.
Time, forgot.
So you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, James Russell,
I, James Russell,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as a part-time officer of the Brentwood Police Department,
as a part-time police officer of the Brentwood Police Department,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and laws
of the Constitution and
of
laws
the state of New Hampshire.
of the state of New
So help me
Hampshire.
God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd call his wife up to officially, don't hit with the pin, just nice and straight through.
So troubling. Thank you. a
Alright,
family
We gotta
photo?
do some photos here,
Yeah.
do a photo, can I get the lieutenant? And quick photos here, and then we'll get a group photo, and then we.
Do you wanna?
Can I run past you for a second? Oh, of course.
Real fast. Sprint.
A little glare, sorry.
Wanna get
Alright,
a
group,
family
come on
or
up,
group?
everybody.
Group?
We gotta fit everybody.
Ooh, good catch.
Morning, guys, we gotta fit in somewhere. I'm definitely not in the back.
Right here.
That'd be Brian.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Welcome. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks for being here. Hey, good to meet you. Hey, Jim.
Hi, Jen Jones, welcome. Nice to have you.
Hi, I'm Karen, I'm the town administrator. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Tamara. I can do it.
Did you guys wanna do a family photo? Thank you. I don't know if they wanna do one. Do you wanna do a family photo? Yeah, we usually do. Alright, let's go, you can go right up by the flag, a nice little picture of us, family photo. Nice looking group. Zoom in a little bit. Alright, smile. Nice. Can you stay for a second?
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now the question is, are they gonna be loitering? Okay, okay. All right, we're gonna move these guys out. It sounds like Daphne has something for us real quick. Come on in.
I'm here.
Did you want Daphne to go first? Or
You guys
should we
can-
get
You can go first.
get dressed out of here?
And then I will. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we will review and sign our payroll and accounts payable register, as we always do, for the period ending 1/27/24. We had payroll in the amount of $36,748.50. We had accounts payable in the amount of $21,790.32. We did not have any ACH, school, or retirement payments.
Short and sweet. I'm working on it. Reports for that today. You don't wanna make mistakes. Right?
All right, thank you. Have a nice night.
Night, thank you.
Daph, we can bring you in now.
Make this super quick, just a full page. Well, before I begin, I was remiss in mentioning Jillian Benedicts and Sally Finnan helped at the nursing home when we did the absentee ballots. I wanted to make sure to mention them. They were very helpful with the residents, and they came with myself and Lieutenant Jody. It was amazing. So I just wanted to say I'm filled with gratitude for the help that we had during the presidential primary, and I'd like to thank a few people. We set up the entire election in under 2 hours, and everything was packed up and brought back to the town office in less than an hour the night of the election. Thank you to Mr. Q and Rusty, who's the facilities manager for SAU 16, for providing us with all the materials we needed. Lights were very important because I couldn't keep them on. The tables, chairs, and the Wi-Fi. So listed are the many town employees and residents that helped out, not just with the setup and breakdown, but during election day as well. Our highway crew, Wayne, Jeff, and Micah, Joyce Keegle, Caleb Smith, Heather Haggett, Sally and Doug Finnan, my long-suffering husband, as he will tell you, his name's Ernie, Bob Mantigary, Kane, Jen Jones, Letty Bedard, Betsy Ibbotson, Kathy Began, part of the Brentwood Police Department, Lieutenant Doty, Corporal Chris Spitaleri, Officer Bob Gagnon, Officer Jared Wright Ward, Officer Kevin Nealon, and Officer Matt Kelly, and part of the Brentwood Fire Department, Katerina, Matthew, and Jeremy. It was incredible. That's how we got it done so quickly. Our ballot clerks, who are absolutely amazing at what they do, Carol Belvo, Carolyn Conklin, Katie Coppola, Kathy Began, Liz McConnell, Matt Lipinski, Michelle Sudit, Becky Dunham, Sally Finnan, Jillian Benedict, and Betsy Ibbotson. And a huge thank you to each select board member. You all stepped in to help at any given moment during the election. Thank you to Lindy's for the amazing food we had for lunch and dinner. They're always willing to accommodate us. And last but not least, there are not words to express my thanks to Heather Haggett and Joyce Keegle. Before, during, and after the election, they have put up with my bossiness and organization, and they do it kindly towards me and efficiently. So thank you very much.
Great job.
And of course, we would be remiss not to thank Daphne,
Yes,
who
same
does an amazing job. And as well as our moderator and assistant moderator, who were extremely, extremely helpful. And the election went super smoothly. We always count on Daphne. She was wearing her purple shirt. We knew where to find her in the room. She knows how to answer every question when something goes wrong. So thank you to everybody on her list. All right, we will now. No, we have not. We will now move on to our consent agenda. Anyone interested in motioning to approve?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm an aye. The consent agenda for this week includes the rec manifest, the treasurer's report, and building permits. We'll now move on to public comment. We will open public comment at 6:13. As always, we invite anybody to come forward and speak. We just ask that you come up so that the microphone can pick you up.
Just in time.
Come on down.
Shall I sit down?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I would like to know why the select board appointed an alternate to the Conservation Committee that was not recommended by the Conservation Committee.
We haven't, and we are further discussing that tonight.
You're
There's
fully
been no
assessing-
appointments.
Oh, my understanding was that you were gonna appoint a gentleman tonight that was not recommended by the
Well,
board.
I can't speak to any vote we haven't yet taken.
Oh, you have not taken the vote yet?
Correct.
Okay. Then I can't answer my question, obviously. So we have to wait till next week to find out? So tonight you're gonna vote.
Tonight, we are doing an interview of the third candidate who wasn't able to be here when we did the other interviews, and then the board will decide if we are ready to vote.
Okay, but you would vote tonight for that person?
I'm assuming so, but it's up to my board.
Because the word kept coming up, because I saw your minutes or whatever. The word is qualifications, and I wondered what that meant. What are qualifications for the position? Do you have a list of qualifications for these positions that some people have to meet?
You're welcome to listen to our conversation that we had a couple weeks ago and tonight when we discussed that.
Okay, well, that's what I listened to, and that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you. Other public comment or questions?
I have 3 different issues.
Please state your name and address.
Sorry, Elizabeth Faria, South Road. So I have 3 different things. One is, I'll just, because she brought it up first. I actually like World Wolf Tech. We don't always agree, but we've had many great conversations. My question is, it's my understanding that Rob, when he left the Conservation Commission, he quit the Conservation Commission, and I just wondered how it's gonna go forward with some of the same people, like why this time might be different in getting along, because I'd love to see them get along. I think that would be most helpful. I also listened to several different times, and I was here when Patrick Marcoux and Jim Hajar were, I will use the word because you used it before, Russ, they were very disparaged at that meeting. I thought that was really insulting when they came. I'm not saying I'm for them, I'm against them. I just thought that was really, really insulting the way that went down at that meeting. And I'm wondering, I also heard Russ Kelly said in a different meeting that there might have been a conflict of interest with Bob Stevens commenting or voting on something with conservation because his company had at some point, had some dealing with SELT. Rob is on the board, I believe, of SELT, so why wouldn't that be a conflict of interest every single time you had property come up? Because not all of the conservations are SELT, some are Rockingham, there's a Rockingham group, and there's also town-owned easements. So it just seems like conflict of interest is brought up with people that you don't particularly like, and then people that you like, the conflict of interest are ignored. So I think we have a huge problem with conflict of interest with some of the boards that we have in town. So I'd like that addressed. Also, I'm having a really hard time when we do wage adjustments, when we say 3% COLA, 2% raises, maximum you can get is 5%, and then we give somebody 17% wage adjustment. I don't know where these come from, and some of the towns that the wages are compared to are Rye, which isn't relevant, they're not part of SAU 16, or Portsmouth, which is a city and huge. I mean, we're not even comparing ourselves to like Fremont or something that's a comparable size and next door to us, or somebody that's like, you know, they're just not comparable. I don't know why we take that as okay. Also, one of the criteria I know that Paul brought up over and over again is to be on a committee, you need to show up. Well, if that was the case, I should have been on 2 committees that I applied for, because I show up at a lot of committee meetings, or I have in the past. It doesn't make much difference because, you know. One final thing, why is it not a conflict of interest as on the September 19th meeting for the select board that the town negotiated a $1.83 deal with Suburban that also goes to town employees and select board? Why is that okay? That the town employees and the select board can have a rate of propane for 183. It's at about, I think it's at the 48th minute of the September 19th meeting. Why is that not a conflict of interest? Why is that okay? The person who negotiates the contract gets that kind of deal.
Thank you for your comments, Liz.
Okay.
Anyone else interested in public comment?
Good evening.
Hi.
Just as a reminder to the board, I'm
Where are you?
Doug Finnan, Gove Road, Brentwood, sorry. Just as a reminder, I had requested in discussion during election, would like to get some pointers for the new screen, and I believe Jillian just ordered one. I don't know if it's adaptable, so there's one already, but I'd like to see 3, one for the chair, one for the applicant, and one for Glenn while he's there, instead of having the pen hit the screen, driving me crazy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other public comment? Anyone else coming up?
Caleb Labby, Shannon Way. I just recommend for the Conservation Commission, the board selects Patrick Marcoux. He's a good citizen, and I think we need some young leadership on the boards, so thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Anyone else interested in commenting? All right, seeing none, we will close public comment at 6:19. We will move on to discussion action items. We already did our swearing in of Jim Russell, so we will move on to having Rob come up for conservation alternate appointment interview. Come on up. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Rob Wolfchuck, PVD Drive.
Thank you for being here. So we had the other applicants come and kind of tell us why they wanted to be on the board, what they thought they could add to the board, and then respond to board member queries and questions. So we'd like to give you the floor for a few minutes to kind of summarize what you're interested in terms of trying to go back onto the board, and then we'll see if the board has questions for you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. As you know, I was on the Conservation Commission for 12 years, chair for 8 years, planning board for 5 years. So I think I have a lot of historical background, institutional knowledge that some has been lost with the turnover. I feel like I'm able to bring that experience to help get through some of the roadblocks that maybe the Conservation Commission has had in the past. I think I've been very helpful, like on the Fuller project, where that got sidetracked by some interpretations of both the town's master plan and the open space bond, and I think that has really helped clarify some of those issues going forward so that we don't have to take those sidetracks and we can really get to investing the $3 million open space bond. I think that's really what drove me back, is that, you know, almost a couple years into it, we've got 1 or 2 projects kind of in the early stages still. And as, you know, real estate prices keep going up and properties keep getting developed, I really want to help maximize the return of that investment. I think the Conservation Commission was very successful in leveraging the last open space bond at 2-3 to 1. And I think my background in being involved with SELT, of which I did resign in November of 2023, so I'm no longer on any boards or committees with SELT, so I think that should eliminate any conflict of interest. You know, seeing over 100 conservation easements go through with SELT and all the creativity and different grant funding opportunities, I think I could bring a lot of that knowledge. You know, when I applied and sent in my application, it was August of 2023, and it was a different time than today. You know, the chairperson at the time, admittedly himself, you know, didn't have a lot of experience, and the meetings were kind of kind of just all over the place, and it would seem like we were just passing one thing on to the next. So I will say that I have admired all the effort and energy that Becky has brought to it in the organization. And I, you know, look forward to, if I'm appointed, working with Beck and the other conservation commissions to really move forward with investing the open space bond and all the other activities.
Great. Questions from board members for Rob? Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, with regard to SELT, so would there be a conflict, do you feel, if you were on the board with SELT? Is there a conflict acting as both conservation committee person and being on SELT?
So kind of hypothetical.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand.
Well, I'm not involved with SELT at all.
Okay,
currently.
so no association whatsoever?
I mean, I volunteer to do trail work, I'm a member and donate like many members of the community, but I've resigned from the board, I'm not on any committees, so I don't think there's any conflict. I mean, you know, I don't think whatever I've done in the past is reflective today, so I don't see any conflicts, but I'll leave that up to you guys to decide.
Okay, so again, I'm just trying to understand if you had been on the board, would that, because is there a conflict between SELT and the town? That's what I'm trying to understand fundamentally.
Well, there were past projects where SELT was involved in, because they do get paid. I have removed myself from those decisions. So I do think that if SELT is getting paid and I was a board member, although I don't personally benefit, the organization is getting paid. So I think whether an actual or apparent conflict, I have abstained from votes in the past.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions or comments for Rob?
Rob, thanks for being here. Can you just lay out what your perspective is, just at a very high level, of the function function of the Conservation Commission itself? Very high level.
Well, there's a regulatory one, which is overseeing the town's wetlands and keeping track of the open space in town. But, you know, I also think it's implementing the portion of the master plan, which is the residents' vision for the town. And there's an open space chapter, you know, the planning board does a good job at updating that and keeping it. And I think it kind of gets lost that, you know, the warrant articles like the open space bond are really, in my vision, and all the warrant articles are a tool to implement the town's vision, right? Whether it's fixing roads or having a new salt shed or whatever it is. And just like the open space bond, there's an open space chapter that lays out the vision of what the residents would like to do. And I think the commission's job is to implement that vision, which is keep the, you know, paraphrasing from memory, keep rural character, protect farms, protect like important trail systems in town if possible. And so that's my, you know, so I share that vision. And, you know, while I might not agree with every particular little aspect, I mean, I think it's all of our jobs is to implement the town's vision, not our own personal one. And really to try and do it in a way that helps all the residents, or as many of the residents as possible, not just a small group, you know, that might have an interest in birding or walking or hunting or whatever the case may be.
Thanks.
Other questions? I'll ask you a question that I asked the other applicants. One point of a little bit of friction and controversy over the last year was about public use of conserved properties.
Yep.
And whether conservation members felt that public use and public access was mandatory, was preferred, was completely optional. I'm curious where you fall on that question.
Yeah, so I think in an ideal world, all the properties would remain open, just like the New Hampshire, you know, has, that all properties are open unless posted. But I think those rights should stick with the landowner. Again, I think what we've tried in the past is to meet with the landowners, like some people like the Stevens, when they put an easement on their property, they wanted that property to be open for everybody. And so they put it in their easement, it should be open for everyone to walk, you know, hike, hunt, whatever. Other people feel the opposite. And I think, you know, the approach that the Conservation Commission has mostly taken is to work with landowners to come up with what they would like to do. I mean, with that said, what we've tried to do, if there's an important trail that goes through someone's property, is to try and get them to allow, you know, pedestrian, non-motorized access on those trails, because I think part of the vision is that if we did have a big trail network through town, that would be awesome, that we could walk through people's properties. But again, I don't think that unlimited, unfettered access should be a goal of every one of our easements, because, I mean, let's face it, most people aren't even going to go on someone's private property, park in the street, walk through their yard, you know, have a picnic in their backyard or do whatever without any trail maps or kiosks or anything like that. So I don't think, you know, while it seems like a great thing the town's putting in money, I don't think in reality it would really benefit the majority of residents in town. And I think, like we've seen with the two projects that we're working on, that the Conservation Commission is working on, Fuller and Swayze, you know, it's a deal breaker for them to have unrestricted access. And I don't think we should let that stand in the way of protecting important properties.
Thank you. Okay. I appreciate you addressing the conflict of interest question. We did have a public comment question about some of the changes over the years and the fact that you had previously stepped away from the board and now coming back. I wonder if you might address that and whether you think there'll be any obstacles with you coming back on.
Well, not for me personally. You know, at that time, there was a lot of frustration. I think it was more with the current select board at that time and kind of a flip-flopping of support for a property that was involved at the time versus the particular members, because we had worked together with most of those members for many years. And I think, like all of us, you reach periods of frustration. So after, you know, 12 years of being on the board, it just seemed like that had pushed me over the top. And so after a few years, you know, I'd like to re-engage, and I think I have a lot to offer.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
All right. So we had 3 applicants. My understanding is that Jim Hajar did pull his application. at one of our prior meetings. So we have two applicants for the two open positions. Does the board feel like they want to have the discussion and voting tonight? Does everyone feel ready to do that? Or does anyone feel like they need any additional information or input?
I'm good.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we have Patrick Marcoux, and then we have Rob for the two positions. Obviously, two people for two positions. There's some, math there. Anyone with comments or thoughts before we move to a vote for these appointments? Paul?
Support both. I think they're both appropriate.
And when we posted this, was there a term
1 year.
with it? A one-year term, okay. Okay, so any other comments from the board?
I just, basically same as I articulated the last time. One of the issues with the, one of several issues, challenges for the Conservation Commission was that there were alternates who were not showing
Right.
up. And I said it a few weeks ago, I'll say it again, it's very important to get this right, and not, take for granted, there's two people, so there's two positions open, two people applied. So there you go. I think we need to be very careful that we don't end up in a situation similar to what we had, and I support, 100% support Rob's candidacy. And as I said a couple weeks ago, I think the other two who came out of nowhere were not attending Conservation Commission meetings. I see an opportunity to make the same, or set up the same situation we had before. Whereas we might be able to reopen and, entice somebody who has much more vested interest in the board. Maybe even someone who's, served in the past, like Rob. But it's just too important. It's gone on long enough. Just this process has taken longer than any other board we've got to deal with. It's, this, the drama that's come with the discussion from a couple of weeks ago with one of the candidates, literally putting words in my mouth that I didn't say. Tonight I'm hearing that, it was appalling. And it's the same, it's the same thing over and over again. It's people who don't waste any time attacking the character of others, including people on this board, any chance they get in public. They'll attack our character, take personal shots, question our integrity, and the minute that something goes in a different way, they'll call it appalling, and they'll talk about being attacked. So it's just, we can talk around it all day long, but the truth of the matter is, we've got a great candidate here in Rob, extremely qualified. I think we all agree on that. We'll find out momentarily. And so that's where I'm at with this.
Other comments?
I guess a similar sentiment from me. I actually asked Rob the question I asked because where I was going with that particular question is that I take no issue with your answer. Your answer was great. It was just that the Conservation Commission is one of a handful of commissions that we have that are appointed by the Select Board, and it is specifically advisory in nature. Thus, advisory to the Select Board. So it should be helping the Select Board and, as Rob was mentioning, the town implement the vision for conservation that we have in the town. And as it is appointed by an elected board, the select board, and it is a non-elected position. I just think that Russ makes a really good point that we should get it right. So, yeah, couldn't be more supportive of Rob's candidacy, given his experience, his enthusiasm and passion for conservation and conservation-related issues and implementing the town's vision. And I think that really speaks to what this board, what my perception of what this board would like to see going forward for Conservation Commission. So I will be voting for Rob specifically myself.
Okay. Andy, any comments?
I wasn't going to, but it looks like I have to.
Well, now the floor is yours.
So I don't think we should sell Patrick short yet. I think he needs to have the opportunity. But given he's going to be the younger generation on the board, it's going to put a lot of pressure on him to succeed. Like, he's paving the way for the younger generation to serve on boards, and people are going to be looking at him for that. Like, how successful can he be for serving on the board? He's always come up with educated and impressive questions during town meeting, so I don't feel that he would be any other way.
I remember some of the questions and comments during town meeting that he's come up with, and I would classify them as rather bombastic and not particularly well informed.
That's what you're there for, is to get informed.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, that's my opinion of town meeting, is that's why you have it, is to become informed on the issue that's on the floor. And
You could also come to other meetings before you
totally agree.
make divisive comments on the floor.
Totally agree. Before I sat in this chair 15 years ago, I hadn't attended one meeting. All I did was talk bad about selectmen.
And here you are.
And look what happened.
And look what happened.
Be careful what you do.
So, I don't think we should count him out. He's somebody who wants to serve.
Okay. Are there any motions for any appointments? We can do them separately, together, however anybody would like.
Can I just add one
Sure,
more
please.
comment?
Please do.
Again, I think we're talking about an alternate position here. So, I understand that alternates do, move up, but they move up at our discretion ultimately. So, it seems to me that.
Just to clarify.
I don't think that that's actually accurate.
No?
Yeah, they step up at a meeting if there's not a full.
Well, no, if someone falls off, I think that
To become a permanent member, that would have to go through us for our approval.
That's what I thought.
At an individual meeting, it's just decided by the group present there.
Right.
Are we sure about, my concern, my understanding was, and I'd like to be wrong about this, to be clear, but my understanding was once you were an alternate, the commission itself or the committee itself could appoint a full member from the alternate, from the
For
bench.
planning board, that is correct statutorily. For advisory boards, it is 100% our discretion.
Okay,
We have always
glad I'm wrong.
brought them up because
So, I'm
put them
correct,
on.
John?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
no, it works,
Okay.
no, you are,
Works out in the
no, you
minutes.
are, Paul, it works differently for different boards is
Yep.
what. is
And our
what-
hope is that somebody that served as alternate and served well, if they wanted to move up to full, that we would be in support of them. If we had any problems with their service, we might have a discussion and go a different direction. But yes, that is at our prerogative because it's an advisory board.
Perfect.
Given that, I think it's a perfect opportunity for someone who is interested, seems qualified, brings, some youth and some difference to the commission. So I think that's important.
Were you gearing up to make a motion? I thought you were.
Yes.
I thought you were. What motion would you like to make?
I think we're gonna have to do these independently.
Sure.
So my first motion would be appoint Rob Wilczek to the Conservation Commission as an alternate member for 1 year.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
And I'm an aye, so Rob is appointed, and I'm sure you're about to make motion number 2.
my second motion would be to, just so I say the name right, appoint Patrick McCoo as an alternate member to the Conservation Commission for a period of 1 year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, so we have a 3-1-1, so that's a pass. So we will appoint Rob and Patrick for 1-year alternates to Conservation Committee, and we wish them both the best of luck. And thank you for tolerating us going through this whole process. I think it's really helpful to have people come speak and us get to know them a little bit. And we will use this process in the future as long as it is working for our board. All right, so that is completed. Next on the list, we have public hearing for unanticipated revenue. Show me the money. Karen, I'll turn that over to you.
So we have received funds, so House Bill 2, we received $25,560.91.
And remind us what that was for?
That is for maintenance, construction,
Okay.
or reconstruction of town-owned bridges.
Yep.
And that is a non-lapsing fund, so those will be restricted funds in the general fund to use towards that purpose only.
How much is in that account for roads and, bridges?
There's about $20,000 in the capital reserve fund, and then there's $25,000 on the 24 town meeting warrant to be added to that fund.
So this will make it 70-ish?
Ish, yes. But these cannot be deposited into that capital reserve fund, they'll just be restricted in the general fund revenues.
Oh, okay.
Restricted for
For this purpose
They
only.
can't be used for another line item.
They can only be used towards bridges,
bridges
repair,
only.
maintenance, yep,
What is it, maintenance, construction, or what was the third thing?
or reconstruction
Bridges.
of town-owned bridges. Secondly, I would like to request $28,045 from the New Hampshire Department of Safety, and that is the full match for the MDT grant that the board signed off on, I think 2 weeks ago when Lieutenant Doty was here. Thirdly, $12,750 from FEMA, and that is from the July storm, and that is money that is allocated towards repairs on Pickpocket and Peabody Drive.
Is that gonna cover the total cost?
That is only 75%. So the town encumbered funds to cover the other 25% from Lane's 23 budget.
Okay.
So the total that we are requesting to accept is $66,355.91.
Okay.
Motion.
Because this is a public hearing, we do have to open it up if anyone in the public has any comments about receiving this $66,355.91 into the town as unanticipated revenue. Is anyone interested in commenting?
Should we come up?
Sure, yeah, if you're interested in commenting.
This is for South Road again. You went pretty fast over them, so I just want to make sure. So the HB2 is the maintenance, construction, reconstruction of bridges, which we will have 24 plus 20,000 if it gets passed in the capital reserve, but this is just for the bridges, so it can't be added to the capital reserve, correct?
Yep.
The New Hampshire Department of Safety is for the grant, for the,
They were mobile data terminals, so they're the laptops that the officers use in their cruisers.
and there were 6 of those, correct?
Correct. And it was a 75-25 grant.
And this is the 25% of it?
That was the total amount, that's the 75.
Oh,
So we're receiving the 75 from the state.
okay, and the 28 is our match, or that, no, we're getting this.
We're getting
It's
this.
75% of the
Money
total.
coming in.
Percent of the total, okay, percent of the match, okay. And FEMA was for the July storm repairs for,
So there was road washouts
Pickpocket.
on Pickpocket and Peabody Drive.
okay, I just wanted to do it, sometimes it's hard to see, hard to hear, but you're very soft spoken.
Did you release this packet
Yes,
to the
this is
public?
on
So
the
it's in the
website.
published
Yeah,
packet.
yeah,
Yep, it's all
I
right
just
here.
wanted, but it doesn't, it just says HB2 FEMA.
It
FEMA.
lists
down the
everything
bottom.
here. Yep,
So I didn't see it in the one I printed off, maybe this was earlier than, you might have had 2 versions or something. So Pickpocket and Peabody Drive. And what was you had asked if it was the whole thing, and I didn't hear your answer.
It's a 75-25.
This is also 75-25. So the 12,750 is 75%.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
you're welcome. Other public comments about these funds? Generally, people are in support of us bringing money into the town. So I heard a motion.
Second.
I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so we will accept the 66,355.91, and we will close the public hearing at 6:45.
And I did have a procedural question about the public hearing. Does it have to be open for a certain amount of time or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Just as long as to let people speak who want to speak.
Okay.
We will now move on to regular business. Looks like Karen, you have a couple of things for us to start with.
The board has already voted and approved to encumber funds for the 10th police officer. We've already executed the contract. The 23 budget is closed, all bills are paid. The adjusting entry was made to move the warrant article funds from Officer McCon back into the operating budget, which left the police budget at just over $115,000. So we're looking to encumber $106,640 to cover the cost of the last officer. That's total salary, benefits, all in for the 24 budget year.
And we've already approved doing this. This just finalizes it with an actual dollar
Yep.
value. So there's about $9,000 extra that's going back
Correct.
to the town. Okay. So do you need a vote on that actual number?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so we will encumber the official amount of $106,640. This is to add the 10th officer that this board has been in support of, supporting Chief Ventura. This will have no tax impact in terms of raising additional tax revenue for the next budget season, but will be reflected in the following year, the larger size of our police department. Okay, and then you have a couple documents for us?
Yes, I spelled beaver wrong, but there's beaver.
You did spell beaver wrong.
Never was.
The bever. We're discussing a bever
There's
permit.
a beaver dam in the fire pond at the corner of Bartlett and 111A.
Okay.
And so Fish and Game would like to trap them and relocate them. So these are 2 permits.
Because they are causing an issue or a
Yes.
potential issue?
Yes. So this is, Wayne has looked at it and he would recommend the removal and the relocation of these beavers.
And why do
They're
we have
eating up the
2?
trees. They're 2 separate trappers.
Gotcha. So this is for David O'Hearn and Tom Coleman, permission to trap beavers. Questions or
Super cute business
comments?
card.
That is a cute business card. Any questions or concerns, Paul?
And just, can you,
They're gnawing on the trees, and so when they're falling, they're making a dam, and so the pond is just overflowing with water at this point. So they need to move the beavers out so that they can.
Do you know where they will relocate them to?
I don't ask those kinds of questions.
I'm assuming that means alive and intact and put into some
Yes.
ponds deep in the woods
Yes.
somewhere. Okay.
well, that makes me feel better.
It's not to kill them, it's to relocate them.
Okay.
This is to trap, not to hunt.
Yes, correct.
Trap.
Well, trapping can be
Hopefully they will be intact. I don't know exactly how they trap them. But the intention is to relocate, not exterminate. Correct. Other questions?
Moved. Second.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do I need to sign this?
Yes, as the landowner.
Landowner. All right. And then we have one non-public. Do you have anything else for us tonight? No? Okay. We will move on to any other matters that come before the board and committee updates, and we will start with Andy.
I have nothing.
Okay, John?
Next economic development meeting I have as February 15th at 6 p.m. When is candidates night?
That night.
At what time? Also 6 p.m.?
So probably we should
Cool.
reschedule.
All right, well, that
Probably.
meeting will probably stay on the books and carry on.
You're a
I mean,
candidate.
yeah, there's that. I don't have to be at this meeting though.
Fair.
They need to prepare for the business breakfast, which is February 21st, which is where my comments are going. February 21st at the rec, 7:30 in the morning. This is going to be a business roundtable, so looking for insights, comments, feedback, thoughts, requests, anything regarding doing business here in Brentwood. All are welcome. So, what was that?
All businesses.
Yeah, well, expansive.
Or business interested people.
Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs. So again, 21st, 7:30 at the rec. That's all I got.
Russ?
I guess I have a question. Any news on the website launch?
Tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Really?
Do we have a countdown ticker?
Okay.
I don't know. It used to be crying in my office at noon, something went wrong.
Got delayed a little bit
That's
because of an issue with the old website, right?
It was delayed a little bit because we wanted to make sure everybody had the opportunity to log in and play around with it a little bit before we turned over them posting their own agendas and minutes.
Awesome. I'm so excited.
A lot of hard work there.
A lot of
Yeah,
work, yes.
good work, good work.
Yes, and
Amazing.
so we've also split up the communications committee amongst all of the boards and groups so that each committee and board has one person that they can go to if they have an issue or need
Nice.
additional assistance.
Support
Nice.
person.
Yep.
Good. I'm so excited. So everyone pull up the new website sometime tomorrow or the next day, and it's very phone friendly, mobile friendly.
Let's crash it.
Yeah, right? Don't crash it. Don't all go at the same time. That would be bad.
Um,
Anything else you have for us?
Not on committees, I just had a question from a couple of weeks ago when we talked about, Letty had a question about, or a suggestion about accounting practices.
Yes.
Did that get addressed in the meantime?
We kind of tabled it
Well, yeah.
at that
but
meeting, yeah.
My suggestion at the time was that it be put on the agenda and then but I mean, I don't care, but I didn't know if it had, sometimes things get addressed in between.
No.
So we have finished and closed out the 23 budget, and there is sufficient funds in the highway budget if you wanted to take all of the funding from that road construction line. So there's enough money in his summer budget to do that.
Instead of having to do line items out of those other budgets that you had suggested?
Yes.
Okay, so potentially actually a non-issue. I think, do you want to post it on the agenda for next week so that it can be posted before we discuss?
Sure.
Because I think it was a good opportunity for a discussion of how to best, most transparently do our accounting in a way that makes sense to everybody, including BudCom. Okay,
That's it for me.
great, thank you for bringing that up again.
Sorry, can we rewind for 1 second?
Yes.
I mentioned to you earlier that I won't be at the next BudCon meeting on the 5th.
Yes.
Can we just officially appoint Andy, since he's gonna be there anyway?
Yes. Would you
So
like to-
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Andy as the alternate for BudCom for the upcoming meeting.
Which is
February
February 5th?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just for the board's clarity, he has to be there anyway because of audio-visual stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andy, for being willing to do that. Anything else, Russ, that you have for us?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Paul?
So planning, planning board, one real major project is the one where the Castles is no longer. That's the Prescott Prescott is the owner and applicant, moving his manufacturing facilities from Exeter into Brentwood at that site. We had reviewed a conditional use permit with regard to wetlands and had approved that at the last planning board meeting. There's coming up on Thursday some additional conditional use permits for other issues as well. I think we're nearing a point of approval of that. You know, and then there's also we're in the process of a site plan review application for Greg Lambert and Sons on Route 125. Decent sized project, but not nearly like what I just mentioned, that's pertaining to an 8,000 square foot building, contractor building, and a 12,000 square foot Brentwood surplus supply building as well.
Sorry, where did you say that was?
Next to Brentwood Supply.
Yeah.
The lot they cleaned out,
Exactly.
that they were gonna build the Gaffners
Yep.
back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So we had approved the wetlands conditional use permit at that last meeting and have some additional work to approve that work, so review and ultimately approve that coming up as well. I don't see any obstacles for that either.
Great.
So,
Any further activity on the cease and desist that we put forward?
I mean, I know it's been served. I haven't seen them remove anything yet visually.
I don't believe they've removed anything, it was served, the gentleman was
We
here
gave him
last
30 days though,
week.
right?
We gave him 30 days, he was here last week, and Glenn wasn't here, so I believe his intention is to come in tomorrow and speak with him to follow up.
Okay, great. So we'll just kind of keep our
When
eye on
does
that.
the 30 days?
We're about halfway,
Yeah,
I would say.
Will Glenn be here?
Another couple of weeks.
Yes,
So he's here today too.
yes, because he was making it for last Wednesday.
Okay, great. So hopefully we'll just kind of keep an eye on that
Yes.
situation.
I think it was served the 19th,
Just
maybe,
before our-
Or was it the 14th?
It was, I think it was served last Monday.
It was the day before our last meeting, I believe, or 2
15th?
meetings ago.
So I think it was the 15th.
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just keep our eye on that and hope that that moves forward in a positive direction for everybody. Anything else that you had for us?
Nope.
Okay. There's a school board meeting next week, so I don't have any new updates other than just to thank the school again for letting us have the election in the school. It worked so well in there. It was a little cold in the morning, but once we dealt with that, it's such a better space for us. We were more spread out. There was a huge table to do absentee ballots on. I really felt like it worked really well, so thank you to the school again for letting us have that there. That is all I have. Does anybody else have any other board business before we go to non-public for real estate? Nope. I'll take a motion to go to non-public for real estate discussion.
Moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Andy?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Okay, we'll go to non-public.
Good night, really nice for you. That worked out perfect. Okay, we'll do one.
Oh, he was like